I welcome you all on this webinar on unlocking potential, a deep dive into on-premise to AWS cloud. We have our two guests. We have two speakers, Ketki Goswami and Dheeraj Goswami, with us, who will be taking us through the journey of on-premise to cloud migration and what benefits one can achieve from transition to during transition from on-premise to cloud. Kate, I would like you to introduce yourself, and I would like to, without wasting any time, I would like to invite Ketki to take us through the session.
Hi everyone, thank you Kamini, thanks for introduction. So let's start with the webinar. So Kamini, could you please move to the next slide? Hi. So I will just go through Enreap's overview first. So here in Enreap, as a partner in a client digital transformation journey, Enreap helps companies to achieve operational delivery excellence by realizing the optimum productivity of their teams. We enable our clients to significantly enhance their time to market through output and reduce delivery risk. We help businesses achieve sustainable competitive advantage by executing technology, enable their operating strategy in the market. So we work with our client to enable strategic alignment, utilizing the right process, framework, and tools to make their transformation successful. Through collaboration, we help ensure that they are not just adapting to change, but they are thriving in it. So, here we are involving in streamlining the business's operations in a various areas, such like software delivery operations, customer service operations, strategy management operations, and business support operations. So, with the help of our Agile, DevOps, ITSM, and PPM and cloud solution, we are able to do that. So, we share premium and advanced partnership with Atlassian, AWS, Planview, JetBrains, Monday.com, JFrog, GitLab, and Sonasos. So, this is all about our partnership level. Moving to the next slide, please. So we have offices and teams across India, Singapore, Dubai, and USA. We have served 400 plus customers across 10 plus industries in our last 10 years, and Enreap has 75 plus certified expertise to dedicatedly support your businesses. Moving to the next slide. Now, in this slide, we are just quickly giving you a glance of our customer across the industries. So, in healthcare, we have worked for Quanta, CureFeed, then AGS Health, Hoya, and many more. So, this slide just gives you a glance of our customers across the industries. And then moving to the next slide. Okay. Now here coming to AWS partnerships. Our partnership as an advanced consulting partner with AWS is a testament to our deep commitment to helping businesses harness the full potentials of a cloud technology. And at Enreap, we understand that embarking on a digital transformation journey is a completely and transformative process. So that's why we offer a suite here, a comprehensive solution design to navigate this journey. Let's take a closer look at this suite. So we provide various offering here under the four major cloud solutioning. So here, if we can see, we can start with there are four solutioning we have defined, that is consulting, cloud design and migration, DevOps and SRE, and managed services. So consulting is like nothing but we are doing the infrastructure assessment of the customer, where we are checking the cloud readiness, performing cloud readiness checks, whether customer infrastructure is suitable for cloud or not. So that assessment has been completed at this stage. Then under cloud design and migration, our expertise will go through the solution, will study the solution, and they will design the process. They will create a diagram where we can define the complete plan. Then coming to DevOps and SRE, here we enhance your development and operations with our DevOps and continuous integration process. And we also provide DevSecOps services as well along with that. And Coming to managed services, so managed services is a continuous support. So when we launch resources in the cloud, we need a continuous support to manage those resources. So Enreap handles access identity management, security, orchestration, backup, monitoring, and many more services which consist under the managed support. So there are many services which we provide to the customer. So this is all about how our partnership with AWS, our solution suite which we provide in the market. And then moving to the next slide, please. So here now, moving to our main agenda. Before we move towards on-prem to AWS cloud migration, firstly we will just understand what cloud migration is. So what we are doing in cloud migration. So it's a process of moving your organizational digital assets, your traditional infrastructure, application, data, resources from your on-premises traditional infrastructure to the cloud-based infrastructure. So in this context, the term cloud is referred to a service and resources which are provided by the third party cloud solution. So when we say third party cloud solution, it can be AWS, it can be Microsoft Azure, it can be GCP, and other cloud providers which are present in the market. So the process of cloud migration, it involves a proper planning uh, of that, of all steps which are getting involved in this process. It can consist the assessment of your existing infrastructure, then the data transfer, application reconfiguration if required, testing of all this process to ensure the smooth transition is going on. So it's essential to consider the factor that like data security, application compatibility, and the overall impact of the organization's operation during this migration process. So here we have just understood what cloud migration term is and what we are exactly doing in cloud migration. Now when we say, let's just understand what are the pain point of because of customer move to cloud migration. So uh, we will move to the next slide. So whenever we talk about cloud migration, the first thing comes in our mind is that why cloud migration is required. So organization choose the choose the process, they choose to migrate to the cloud because of various factor, various reason. So uh, the decision to move to cloud is often influenced by the several pain points. There can be a several pain points which customer is facing in their current environment, current traditional approach, and because of that they decided to move to on-prem. So here we have just list down, there can be a multiple approaches, here we have just list down few approaches. So uh, in a on-premises infrastructure, customer may struggle to handle sudden increase of the workload. Then there is a huge demand of resources. Then second is maintaining and upgrading on-premises hardware and software can be expensive and can be complex and time consuming as well. And in a traditional environment, what happen is they may lack the flexibility and agility to need to and the business requirement. So these are all the pain points which we can overcome when we move on cloud. So that is why customer mostly decided to move on the uh, cloud and to choose a cloud migration. So here we have understood what cloud migration and what are the pain point of cloud migration. Now moving to the next slide, I will give handover to Dheeraj. He will explain you the approach and the strategy of the migration. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Ketki, for explaining everything regarding the cloud migration, why it's required, everything pain area. So in this slide, we will discuss when we decided to migrate the or any data from the on-premises to AWS, we need to do some strategies, we need to do some planning, everything. So here we can do with the these four steps here we need to follow. So first one is like a migration preparation and business planning. Second one is the portfolio discovery and planning. Third one is the migration validation application design, and fourth one is the operator. So third step is actually combination of the two steps. So we will go one by one. In first thing, like a migration preparation and business planning. So here we need to understand which services or the which server I need to migrate into AWS cloud. Here we need to understand what will be the cost effective solution, means as a business point of view, is it really need, or how we can save the cost, everything. we need to calculate here in this the first step, migration preparation planning. Suppose we have the 5 servers, and I need to migrate only 3 server as of now, and I need to try it out how it works. So I will everything I will study in the my first step. In second step, portfolio discovery and planning, here we need to understand if we choose the 3 servers, is it really readiness for the cloud, is it really ready for the cloud or something. So we need to understand this thing. We need to plan which strategy we need to identify. In this step we will understand the strategy. We will I will share in the next slide also. So all things we need to cover in the next second phase. In third phase, it is as I'm saying, it is a combination of migration validation and application designing. So what happened in this step, actually, once the 2 step is completed, now it's time to migrate our application based on which strategy we have selected. Upon that, we will migrate this server onto AWS, and we will check and validate, is it really helpful, as a cost effective, as a bandwidth utilization, everything is if it's not happen or something is bad or something it, so we need to again application, we need to redesign your application, and again we need to have migration and validation. It is a completely bicircular the process. Once it's completely validate everything is what data you required and everything is good, then we will jump on the last step, like a operator step. So operate step is just like a, we need to monitor the whenever any migration is completely successfully we will done it, we need to monitor continuously, like in a month. It is actually continuous process, it is not a for one time, we need to do this process continuously lifetime. So we will, and again we will cost optimize the solution in AWS. Likewise, we will follow these 4 steps when we decided to go on migration step. Coming in, next slide please. Okay, so here we have some approaches to do this migration activity. So suppose so first step is like identify your business objective. So in that, establish your KPI around your cloud migration plan that involve the current status of your organization and where you hope the land the post migration. Means, are you aim to increase the security, faster response time, improve the cost effective? Those are key questions we will need to cover in the first section, identify your objective. Then second one is the select your cloud type. In this part, we need to choose the which cloud we need to migrate, like we have multiple things like a hybrid cloud, public cloud, private cloud, according to your situation and the what will be comfortable as per the cost and everything. We need to choose here the cloud type. Then third one is the compare the cost as on-prem versus the AWS. So here is the main points that we need to consider. Means we need to check whether the whether we get the huge cost like a hardware cost, storage cost, something maintenance cost, labor cost, networking cost, software license, everything we need to compare as on premises as well as the AWS. So you will understand that you will get the major difference between on premises to AWS. So those part also we will cover in this section. Fourth one is the security part. Security is everyone wants the security is a very important section. So in AWS also have to provide the huge number of security levels and everything. So we need to understand what security we will get after our migration is completed. So we need to understand this approach also. uh, Next thing is that which storage we require. Select the AWS storage options, like when you migrate your infra, so where you will keep your data, like the storage option. So AWS has the multiple storage options like S3, CloudFront, EBS, simple DynamoDB, RDS. Likewise, so according your requirement, you can select the what storage type I need to select. So you will cover those point in the storage option parts. And then the next one is the select your AWS tools. So AWS, there are the physical limitation when you comes to the migration data from the on-premises location to cloud. But in the cloud, AWS cloud has the other services that you can migrate your application as well as the database also. So for example, AWS has the application migration service. Also AWS has the AWS database migration service. Using that, you can migrate your all infra into AWS cloud. Next one is the identify your the clouds migration strategy. We will discuss more in the strategy in the next slide. So I'm not discussing currently about this. The next one is the technical assessment. So it is a last step actually. In technical assessment means whatever we are discussing the last few steps, So we need to understand, we need to note down everything in the last technical assessment, what strategy we will apply, how we will do the fastly we will migrate this, how much time it will take, everything we need to mention in the technical assessment sheet. So using that we will plan according our migration plans. Yeah. Next slide, please. Yeah. So as I'm saying, we will discuss this majorly. We have the 7 R's, means 7 strategy is in AWS migration. So we will check one by one the thing. So first one is like a rehost. So what is a rehost? Means it is just a lift and shift. Means the strategies of rehosting the application to AWS without making any changes into your on premises to directly, it will directly migrate into AWS. One can use the AWS server migration service and migration hub containerization or the application, then you migrate to the AWS. Second one is the re-platform. Re-platform is like a lift, thinker and ship type. Means what is a re-platform? It is just like whenever you think the on-premises data is outdated or they have some licenses are expired and now you need to move on to AWS. So just you can migrate your all infrastructure into the AWS. It will cover into re-platform parts. Third one is the repurchase. This is actually very fastest way to possible to access your cloud-based software as a service. It takes the company existing data and data application, perform them clearly in the cloud-based product in order to manage your such as the HR, CRMS, likewise. So those software is already already available in the cloud services. So using that, you can migrate your data very easily and fastly. You can migrate you once you select the repurchase strategy. Fourth one is the refactor. So this strategy used for the add new features or a new order increase of scalability of the your application or the boost your business community productivity. Actually, this is a very most expensive strategy usually executed after the rehosting. Means the whenever the rehosting is done, then you can use this for the refactor part. Means you can changes your application after you migrating the everything in the AWS parts. So this will cover in the refactor and re-architecture parts. Fifth one is a relocate. So relocate is a like in a naming is relocate means hyper. It is working on the hyper level things, lift and shift. So it is start. It is just strategies move the infrastructure to cloud without purchasing any hardware. Just you need to modify your existing application and you just move to in AWS cloud. So it will cover into relocate strategy. Third one is the sixth one is the retire part. So this identity assets is the no longer useful and can be removed, which boosting your business case. So like this, suppose if I'm giving any example retire regarding the retire thing, means if you want to migrate any infrastructure and after that you don't require those infra or the VM, so you will remove or you can delete the all infra from the on premises. Those if you're planning this, so this cover the this strategy will cover in the retire part. Last one is the retain part. Retain means suppose if you don't want to migrate whole infra into AWS, you need to keep some, suppose some server in the on premises and some server you need to migrate into AWS cloud. So those part you will cover into the retain strategy. So whenever we do the migration plan, so we need to understand which strategy we need to go with the migration activity. Mainly in market, everyone is go with the rehost. Actually, it is very easier step. So rehosting is a priority. Everyone is using this the rehosting part. Okay. Next slide, please. Yeah. So business benefit of the on-premises cloud and to migration. So if you see here, you can see the multiple benefits you will get once you migrated into AWS cloud. Suppose the lower maintenance cost, access anytime, anywhere. As you know, the cloud you can access anywhere. This thing, high availability and disaster recovery. AWS has the multiple service for the disaster recovery also for the means the you can if you have the on premises side hybrid type of situation, so you will use the disaster recovery service also is present in the AWS. Then heightened security. So AWS is manage everything security things, it will manage by their own. They have multiple security tools and everything. They can as a HIPAA compliance or ISO compliant also, they will provide those type of services quick deployment. It is actually main things that you can anytime you can do the deployments and anything in a quick, in a second, like when you are planning any CI/CD or something. So it will done very quickly in the AWS cloud. Scalability also it will provide in the AWS cloud. So if you go with the all benefits and everything, you will understand what is the benefit means as compared to on premises thing. So those are the benefits once you migrate into AWS cloud. Next slide. Yeah.
Thank you, Dheeraj. Thank you, Ketki, for taking us through the challenges and the process of on-premise to AWS cloud migration. I think the audience is enjoying it a bit because I can see a lot of questions from them. So let me cater one by one. There is one question from Rohan. He is asking, can AWS migration service protect or migrate physical servers as well?
Yes. Can I take Ketki this question answer?
Yeah, yeah, Dheeraj.
Yeah. So yes, Kamini. So we in application migration service we can do this. Means we can protect the and migrate the physical server also. So there is a no issue. We can migrate the your infrastructure also. And
So there is one more question. Thank you, Dheeraj. Thank you for answering. There is one more question coming from Suman. Do we require any downtime or date? There will be any data loss during the migration process?
I will take that question. So the good thing is that using AWS migration service, you need a very few minutes of downtime only for changing the DNS configuration. So there will be no data loss in that process.
Okay, so the process will not stop for more than 1 hour or so.
No, 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 not at all.
Okay. So we have one more question from Jayashri. What timeline is required for the migration?
okay. So I can take this question. So Jayasri, actually, it is when you ask any timeline regarding the migration, it's completely depends on how much bandwidth is present in on-premises side, and what is the data is currently present in the on-premises side. So depends on the amount of storage and the bandwidth, internal bandwidth. It will completely migrate. We can consider or we can assume that this will time to get the migration. So suppose if I'm giving any example, like suppose you have the bandwidth is the 10 mbps and you have data is the 100 GB of things. So and if you purchase the self-managed methods for the migration, so at least you require the 3 days for the migration activity. So because here the bandwidth is very low, less 10 mbps is a very less bandwidth. So due to this it will give the 3 days of migration. If you have the more than bandwidth, definitely your migration will be quickly, it will be completed. So those factor mainly your storage and bandwidth you need to take care once you decided the migration.
Thank you, Dheeraj. Thank you for answering this. Now we'll take two more questions. Uh, this is coming from Arjun. What migration types AWS provide?
Yeah, sure. So AWS provide different kind of migration. AWS has an application migration service. So it all totally depends on the requirement whether customer want to migrate the application or they want to migrate the database. So there are two services like application migration service and a database migration service, under which AWS provides a multiple services, multiple factors by using which we can do a smooth migration. So depending on the requirement, we can choose that type in the AWS.
Thank you, Ketki. Thank you for clearing his doubt. Now we will take one last question. It is coming from Edwin. He is asking what prerequisites for migration are required.
Prerequisite.
Yeah,
Okay.
prerequisite.
When you say the prerequisite, firstly we need to decide the which migration you will go with, like application migration or the database migration. So suppose in our case we are doing with the application migration strategy. So there is a few steps we need to do from the AWS side and some steps we need to do from the on-premises side. So if I'm saying the AWS side, we need to initialize first the application migration service. Firstly, we need to initialize this service. Then we need to create the IAM user. For like it is a programmatic user, we need to provide the access key, secret key, and provide the respective policy in that the user. And once you initialize the this service, application migration service, you need to create the three templates. Actually, it is the first one is the replication templates, the next one is the launch template, and third one is the post template. So those are actually working like a replication instance, means whenever any instance is firstly launched, so all configuration you will mention in the replication instance. Second thing, like a launch template. Launch template means it is a final template, means whatever the instance you required in my final step, cutover step, you will mention those configuration in the launch template. And post launch template means, suppose some hardware or something files is coming on premises, and I don't want those files or those services in my after migration. So you will mention those services in the post launch script, like I uninstall this software or the install these services. Likewise, you will mention in the post launch the template. Same thing with the in on premises side, you just do two we can say the step, like you need to open the ports. Like in migration service, it required 1500 ports is mainly required, and you need to make a sufficient bandwidth you required in the on premises side. So whenever we launch or we can install the agent, we need the some proper bandwidth and the open the ports at that time. That is the main prerequisite from the on premises side also. Yeah.
Thank you, Dheeraj. Thank you, Ketki, for clearing the doubt. We have further more questions, but it's I think we are running late. So you guys can you guys can send us your questions or your queries on sales@enreap.com, and we will definitely answer the questions asked during the session. Thank you everyone. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being such an amazing audience.
Yeah, thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks.
Thank you, Ketki. Thank you, Sudeep, for taking us through this insightful session. I hope this must be helpful for deciding our customers, for deciding the audience to whether to choose go for AWS cloud or upgrade their infra. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks, Kamini. Thanks, Dheeraj.
Thanks, Kamini. Thanks, Ketki. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.